Fame is often described as a dream, bright lights, red carpets, and endless admiration. But for Ji Chang-wook and Nam Ji-hyun, fame wasn't just a dream. It became a test of endurance, a mirror that reflected not just their success, but also the cracks forming quietly beneath it. Behind the glamour, beyond the charming smiles and perfect interviews, there was a story few truly knew. A story about distance, pressure, and two people trying to hold on to something real in a world built on illusion. Their journey began beautifully. On screen, their chemistry was magnetic, a mix of playfulness and sincerity that drew fans in immediately. Every glance, every laugh, every unscripted touch felt too natural to be acting. The drama they starred in wasn't just a success, it was a cultural moment. Viewers around the world fell in love with their dynamic, dubbing them one of the most genuine on-screen couples in recent years. But what fans didn't see was how the attention began to shape their reality. After the drama's success, the spotlight followed them everywhere. Interviews, fan events, photo shoots, every public appearance became a test of their composure. Reporters would constantly ask the same question: is there something more between you two? At first, they laughed it off, brushing it aside with friendly smiles and practiced answers. But behind those smiles, the pressure was building. Ji Chang-wook, known for his deep professionalism and perfectionism, wanted to protect Nam Ji-hyun from the growing speculation. He'd tell her, just focus on your work. Don't let them get to you. But she wasn't immune to the noise. She could see the headlines, the online debates, and the endless comparisons to other couples in the industry. Sometimes, even silence felt like confession. Their friendship, once effortless, started to carry weight. Every time they were seen together, it became news. Every absence became a rumor. The same chemistry that once united them now became the subject of endless scrutiny. Slowly, the boundaries between comfort and caution began to blur. One night, after a long day of filming a commercial together, Ji Chang-wook noticed how quiet Nam Ji-hyun had become. She wasn't her usual bright self. When he asked if something was wrong, she simply said, "Sometimes, it feels like being around you causes more trouble than happiness." That sentence hit him harder than he expected, because deep down, he understood. In private, they talked about it, how fame had turned their bond into something the world wanted to own, analyze, and twist. They promised to stay grounded, to keep their friendship protected no matter what. But promises like that are hard to keep when the world refuses to look away. Then came the turning point. Ji Chang-wook was cast in a new drama alongside another rising actress, and the media frenzy returned with full force. This time, the headlines weren't just about his career. They were about who he was rumored to be close to now. Nam Ji-hyun found herself scrolling through the news late at night, reading comments that compared her to others, calling her just a past chapter. She didn't say anything publicly, but those words left a mark. Even their mutual friends noticed how distant she'd become. The easy laughter they once shared turned into polite exchanges. When they crossed paths at events, there was warmth, but it was wrapped in caution, like two people trying not to reopen a wound. Meanwhile, Ji Chang-wook was struggling too. Between demanding schedules, fame, and the expectations of an entire industry, he felt trapped in a cycle of performance, not just in acting, but in life. Whenever he tried to reach out to Nam Ji-hyun, he'd find himself hesitating, wondering if his message would bring her comfort or more attention. But fate, as always, had its own timing. Months later, they both attended an award show, separately, but seated just a few tables apart. Cameras caught the moment their eyes met, just for a few seconds, and fans immediately noticed the change. It wasn't awkwardness. It was something heavier, nostalgia, perhaps even pain. That brief moment went viral online. Some fans said you can still see the connection in their eyes. Others speculated that something personal had happened between them. But no one really knew. What no one saw that night was what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. As the event ended and guests began to leave, Ji Chang-wook quietly walked over to Nam Ji-hyun backstage. They didn't speak much, just a soft exchange, a quiet nod, and a smile that said more than words ever could. To the few who witnessed it, it looked like two old friends finding peace again, if only for a moment. Later, during a rare interview, Nam Ji-hyun was asked if she still kept in touch with Ji Chang-wook. She smiled gently and said, People come into your life for a reason. Even if they don't stay every day, they stay here. She placed her hand over her heart. Fans immediately understood. Some bonds simply don't fade. For Chang Wook, that bond seemed to remain just as strong. When asked about her in a separate interview, he replied, "There are people who remind you of why you started. She's one of them." Though their public appearances together grew rare, those who followed them closely could tell the affection was still there, hidden in the smallest gestures. When Chang Wook once posted a song lyric about missing old times, Hyun shared a post a few hours later that read, "Some memories never really leave you." Fans were convinced these weren't coincidences. Behind the glamour and endless speculation, what remained between them was something simple: respect, care, and perhaps a quiet love that time could never erase. Fame had tested them, but it also proved something powerful: that genuine connection doesn't need to be loud to be real. As the years went on, both continued to thrive in their careers. They took on new projects, grew as artists, and found their own paths. But no matter how far apart their journeys seemed, their names were always spoken together, a reminder of the magic they once created and the bond that endured beyond the screen. Because in the world of fame, where everything is temporary and fragile, what Chang Wook and Hyun shared was rare, something unshaken by time, distance, or rumors. A bond that, even if strained, never truly broke. And maybe that's the real truth behind the glamour. Not every story ends in confession or romance. Some stories simply live on, quietly, beautifully, in the hearts of those who believe that connection, once real, never truly fades. Months passed since that quiet moment backstage, but something about that brief reunion lingered between Chang Wook and Hyun. Though they had both moved forward in their careers, fate seemed determined to keep crossing their paths in the most unexpected ways. One spring afternoon, Chang Wook received a call from his management team about a new drama offer. The concept was emotional, a story about two people who reunite after years apart to face what was left unsaid. As he listened to the pitch, one name caught his attention immediately: Hyun. The producers wanted her as the female lead. For a few seconds, Chang Wook said nothing. The air around him felt heavy. The irony wasn't lost on him. After everything, here was life offering them another chance, at least on screen. He smiled faintly and said, "Let me think about it." Meanwhile, across town, Hyun was sitting with her team, reading the same script. When she saw his name on the potential cast list, her heart skipped a beat. It wasn't fear, not really. It was hesitation, a quiet worry about reopening something she had carefully tucked away. But as she read through the script, a strange sense of calm washed over her. The story wasn't about old wounds, it was about healing. And maybe that was what they both needed. Weeks later, the project was confirmed. Headlines exploded across social media: Chang Wook and Hyun reunite for emotional new drama. Fans couldn't contain their excitement. "The chemistry is back," one fan wrote. "This is the comeback we've been waiting for." When they met again for the first script reading, cameras captured the moment they greeted each other. Chang Wook smiled warmly and said, "It's been a long time." Hyun laughed softly, replying, "Too long, maybe." It was polite, but the warmth in their eyes said everything else. As filming began, something beautiful started to happen. The comfort they once shared slowly returned, not forced, not rehearsed, just real. On set, they worked seamlessly together, understanding each other's rhythms without needing to speak. Their emotional scenes carried a depth that came from experience, from everything they'd lived through separately and together. Crew members began whispering about how natural their connection felt. "It's like they never stopped caring," one staff member said. Another added, "They don't even need direction sometimes, they just get it." But even as they rebuilt their on-screen chemistry, off-screen remained a delicate dance. They were cautious, keeping conversations professional, avoiding rumors, but there were moments neither could hide. When she stumbled during a late-night shoot, Chang Wook instinctively reached out to steady her. Their eyes met under the dim set lights, and for a moment, it felt like time had rewound. The crew quietly stepped back, letting them have that unspoken silence that said everything. During interviews promoting the show, They were both asked the usual questions about chemistry, about reunion, about what had changed. Chang Wook smiled and said, "Time changes people, but it doesn't erase sincerity." Nam Ji-hyun nodded, adding, "Some bonds stay the same, even after years apart." Fans couldn't help but read between the lines. When the drama finally aired, the response was overwhelming. Viewers praised their emotional depth, saying it felt too real to be acting. Every scene between them seemed to hold layers of meaning, especially the quiet moments, the pauses, the looks that lingered just a second too long. It wasn't just fiction anymore. It was something deeper, something lived. Behind the scenes, Chang Wook and Nam Ji-hyun grew closer again, this time with a maturity that only time and distance could bring. They talked during breaks, sharing memories and laughing about old filming days. Once, she joked, "You haven't changed much." He chuckled, replying, "Neither have you, you just got better at hiding how tired you are." It was light, teasing, but underlined with familiarity that never really faded. As filming wrapped, they both seemed more at peace. During the final day on set, after their last emotional scene, Nam Ji-hyun turned to him and said quietly, "I'm glad it was you." He smiled, eyes soft, and replied, "It always had to be." The drama ended up being one of the year's biggest hits, and while fans celebrated their comeback, something more meaningful had happened behind the cameras. They had found closure, not in walking away, but in rediscovering what they meant to each other without the noise of fame in between. In one quiet moment during a post-production interview, Chang Wook was asked what the project meant to him personally. He paused, thought for a moment, and said, "It reminded me that some people leave a mark that time can't erase. You don't have to see them every day to feel their presence." A few weeks later, Nam Ji-hyun gave her own interview, and when asked the same question, she smiled softly and said, "Some stories don't need an ending. They just continue in silence." Fans immediately connected the dots, turning their quotes into viral posts, saying, "This isn't just acting, this is real." As the buzz grew, they both chose to stay quiet about the rumors, but their silence spoke louder than any confirmation. They didn't need to explain what they shared. They'd found balance again, a gentle understanding that whatever they were, whatever they had been, it was something true. And that truth lived not in the spotlight, not in headlines, but in quiet glances, shared laughter, and the respect of two people who had walked through fame, pressure, and uncertainty, and still found each other on the other side. Because in the end, behind all the glamour and chaos, Chang Wook and Nam Ji-hyun's story wasn't about what the world saw. It was about what survived when the camera stopped rolling. A bond once tested, now transformed. A connection not broken, but beautifully redefined. Their story continues, not as a headline, but as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful love stories are the ones that never have to be declared. They're simply lived, quietly, honestly, and forever.